Sometimes in life, you find yourself in a place where it feels like you are completely alone. Not just physically alone, but emotionally, spiritually, and mentally isolated. And let me tell you something. This kind of solitude is not a curse. It's not a punishment. It's not a sign that you're forgotten or left behind. No, my friend, solitude is one of the greatest preparation grounds you will ever experience. It is in these quiet moments, these times when no one is cheering you on, that God is doing his most important work in your life. When you are alone, there is no one to lean on but yourself, and that can be terrifying. But here's what you need to know. This terrifying moment is exactly where strength is born. You see, in solitude, distractions fall away. The noise, the chatter, the voices of others all quiet down, and the stillness that remains forces you to confront who you truly are beneath all the layers. And that, my friend, is where growth begins. It is in the stillness that you learn to hear the voice of God more clearly. It is in the silence that your spirit is shaped and refined. Think about the greatest leaders, the most powerful people you admire. How many of them have not spent significant time alone? How many of them have not faced seasons of isolation and separation? Jesus himself retreated to the wilderness, to a solitary place, before major moments in his ministry. Moses spent 40 years in the desert. David spent time alone in caves hiding from enemies. Even the Apostle Paul wrote some of his most profound letters from prison, separated from friends and followers. Loneliness and solitude have always been part of the process for those who go on to fulfill great destinies. So why is this so important for you? Because the time you spend alone is training you for independence. It's teaching you how to survive on your own, not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually. When you learn to stand alone, you become unshakable. You become someone who doesn't crumble when circumstances change or when people walk away. You build a foundation of strength that is not dependent on applause, approval, or validation from others. In solitude, you learn to depend on God alone, and let me remind you, that is the only dependence that will never fail you. People may come and go, but God's presence is constant. When you learn to survive alone, you learn how to cultivate that deep, unbreakable relationship with the divine. You learn to listen, to trust, and to move forward by faith, even when there is no human hand to hold. Another vital lesson that solitude teaches you is self-reliance. You discover resources within yourself that you never knew existed. You become your own source of encouragement. You develop problem-solving skills, creativity, and resilience. When no one else is there to rescue you, you find new ways to rise up. You discover that you have a reservoir of strength inside that can sustain you through the darkest nights. And this is not about becoming prideful or refusing help when it's offered. No, it's about developing a capacity to stand strong whether or not help arrives. It's about not allowing your sense of worth or your ability to move forward to be dependent on another person's presence or approval. When you survive alone, you learn to be whole and complete in yourself, grounded in who God made you to be. Surviving alone also forces you to face your fears. Fear of rejection, fear of failure, fear of loneliness itself. It forces you to confront the doubts that whisper in your ear in the quiet hours, and here's the truth, when you face those fears head on, they lose their power over you. The very act of standing firm in your solitude becomes a victory. You build courage, and courage breeds confidence. Confidence is the foundation for every step forward in your life, but there is more. Solitude is not only a time for survival, it's a time for discovery. It's an opportunity to learn who you are at your core. When no one else is watching, when the masks come off, and when you are stripped of external influences, you come face to face with your true self. And when you learn to survive alone, you have the chance to nurture that self, to heal wounds, to forgive yourself, and to set new standards for your life. You grow in wisdom and maturity because you are learning life's lessons firsthand, without shortcuts. You begin to understand that survival is not just about holding on. It's about transformation. It's about emerging from your solitude stronger, wiser, and more prepared to walk into your purpose. God does not waste your quiet seasons. He uses them to prepare you for greater things ahead. So if you find yourself alone today, don't despair. Don't think you are forgotten or left behind. This season is a classroom where God is teaching you how to stand, how to survive, and how to soar. It is an invitation to grow stronger, not weaker, to build muscles of faith, endurance, and self-discipline, to develop a spirit that can withstand any storm. Remember this: solitude is preparation, not punishment. It is a sacred time of becoming. When you learn to survive alone, you learn how to live fully, on your own terms, rooted in God's power and your own resilience. This is where true strength is born. This is where your destiny is shaped. Embrace your solitude. It is not your enemy, but your greatest ally. There is a powerful truth that many people fail to recognize. When you rely too much on others, you are actually delaying your own destiny. This might sound harsh, but it is a reality that we must face if we want to grow and succeed. Dependency can become a trap, a comfortable cage that keeps you from stepping into the fullness of who God created you to be. You see, there is a natural temptation to seek support, guidance, and encouragement from those around us. This is not wrong in itself. We are created for community, and relationships are vital. But when reliance becomes excessive, when you become dependent on someone else to solve your problems, to validate your worth, or to propel you forward, you begin to lose the ability to stand on your own 2 feet. You begin to lose your power. This kind of dependency delays your destiny because it prevents you from developing the inner strength and confidence needed to overcome life's challenges. Destiny requires resilience, courage, and self-reliance. When you are overly dependent, you are outsourcing these qualities instead of building them from within. And when the time comes that those external supports are no longer available, because people change, circumstances shift, you find yourself unprepared, vulnerable, and stalled. Dependency can sneak in quietly. It can appear as trust, as partnership, or as teamwork. But if you are constantly looking to others to carry your load, to rescue you, or to make decisions for you, then you are not fully owning your purpose. You are not fully engaging with the process of becoming who God made you to be. Your destiny requires you to be a warrior, not a follower. It requires you to walk boldly even when the path is unclear, even when the crowd is silent, and even when the support you once leaned on is gone. One of the biggest lies that can keep us stuck is the idea that we must always have someone by our side to succeed. This is a lie that leads to fear. Fear of being alone, fear of making mistakes, fear of failing. But the truth is, your destiny will not wait on your fear. It will not pause for you to find the perfect partner, the perfect mentor, or the perfect team. Your destiny is calling you to rise up and walk in faith, whether you feel ready or not. When you learn to move forward without dependency, you discover a freedom unlike any other. You learn that you are enough, that you have within you everything necessary to fulfill your calling. This is a radical truth that transforms your life. It means that your success is not dictated by who shows up or how many people support you. Your success is anchored in your faith, your effort, and your willingness to persevere. Dependency also delays destiny because it can create distractions and conflicts. When you lean too heavily on others, you sometimes find yourself caught up in their agendas, their opinions, and their limitations. You may start to compromise your vision to fit theirs. You may lose focus because you are trying to accommodate others rather than staying true to your own path. This dilution of purpose slows you down and drains your energy. God has a unique plan for your life that no one else can fulfill. Your destiny is personal and requires you to take ownership of it fully. No one else can live your purpose for you. No one else can do the hard work, make the tough decisions, or face the storms on your behalf. When you are dependent, you risk handing over the steering wheel of your life to someone else, and that is a dangerous place to be. This is why learning to survive alone is so crucial. It is not about isolation or loneliness. It is about developing the capacity to move forward on your own, to solve your problems, to make your plans, and to stand firm in your faith even when no one else understands or supports you. This kind of independence builds character. It builds confidence. It builds a legacy that is unshakable because it is built on your own foundation. Think about the heroes of faith and history who changed the world. They did not wait for permission. They did not wait for a crowd to follow. They stepped out in faith, often alone, and they made their mark because they had learned to survive and thrive without depending on others. They understood that destiny is not a spectator sport. It requires you to get in the game, take risks, and sometimes walk alone. So, if you find yourself tempted to lean too much on others, take this as a call to arms. It's time to build your inner fortress. It's time to develop the mental, emotional, and spiritual strength to stand firm regardless of who is or isn't beside you. This doesn't mean shutting people out or refusing help. It means cultivating an unshakable core that can hold you steady through any storm. Your destiny is worth the effort. It is worth the struggle to become self-reliant. When you break free from the chains of dependency, you open yourself up to new possibilities. You discover that you are capable of more than you ever imagined. You become a leader of your own life, not a passenger. Remember, God did not call you to be dependent. He called you to be a conqueror. He called you to walk by faith, to stand strong, and to fulfill the unique purpose He placed in your heart. This journey requires courage, perseverance, and the willingness to survive alone when necessary. So rise up, step into your power, let go of the need to depend on others for your success and fulfillment. Learn to survive alone, and you will find that destiny is not delayed. It is accelerated. You will move forward with purpose, strength, and an unbreakable spirit. The mind is the battlefield where every victory or defeat begins. If you want to survive alone, if you want to rise above your circumstances, then mastering your mind set is absolutely essential. Survival is not just about what you do with your hands or feet. It begins in your thoughts. It begins in how you think, what you believe, and how you manage the inner conversations that shape your reality. Most people underestimate the power of their own mind. They think survival is all about external conditions, finding the right job, having the right connections, or avoiding problems. But the truth is, your circumstances can be the same for two people, and yet one will crumble while the other will rise. The difference is in the mindset. The inner world dictates the outer world. It's the lens through which you view life that determines whether you survive or you surrender. When you learn to survive alone, you have to learn how to manage your thoughts, because there will be times when no one else is there to encourage you. When everyone else is silent, your mind will be loud with doubts, fears, and questions. If you do not have mastery over your mindset, those thoughts can overwhelm you and lead you down the path of despair and defeat. Mastering your mindset means becoming aware of the stories you tell yourself. It means identifying the negative thoughts that limit you. The "I'm not enough," "I can't do this," "I'm alone," or "this will never get better." These are lies disguised as truth, and if you don't learn to challenge and replace them, they will become your prison. You have to take control of your mind like a shepherd tending his flock, guiding your thoughts to places of hope, faith, and strength. This is an educational process. You have to learn what fuels your mind and what drains it, what brings you peace and what stirs anxiety, what thoughts build you up and what tears you down. When you survive alone, you become your own counselor, your own coach, and your own cheerleader. You learn to speak life into your own circumstances because no one else may be there to do it for you. One practical way to master your mindset is through discipline of the mind. Just like you would train your body to be strong and healthy, you must train your mind to be resilient and focused. This requires daily practice. It means intentionally feeding your mind with positive, encouraging, and empowering input. Books, prayers, affirmations, meditations on scripture, or motivational messages become your weapons against defeat. You learn to starve the negative and feed the positive until the new way of thinking becomes your default. Another crucial aspect of mastering your mindset is learning to control your emotions. Emotions are powerful, but they are not the master of your fate. When you are alone, emotions can run wild: fear, loneliness, anger, and sadness. If you let them dictate your actions, they can lead you to make decisions that sabotage your survival. But when you control your emotions, you create space to respond with wisdom and calm. This is a skill that takes practice, but is absolutely necessary for survival. Mastering your minds, it also means embracing faith. Faith not just in a higher power, but faith in yourself and your capacity to overcome. It means believing that no matter what you face, you have the inner resources to navigate through it. Faith becomes the foundation on which your mental resilience is built. Without faith, the mind becomes vulnerable to defeat. But with faith, even the darkest nights have a glimmer of dawn. You must also learn patience as part of mastering your mindset. Survival alone is not a sprint, it is a marathon. You will face setbacks, delays, and frustrations. Your mind must be trained to endure these without losing hope or giving up. This endurance is the hallmark of those who survive alone. They understand that every step forward, no matter how small, is progress. They don't allow temporary discomfort to cloud their vision of the future. Furthermore, mastering your mindset means developing a vision for your life that transcends your current circumstances. When you are alone, it is easy to get trapped in the moment, to focus only on the immediate struggle. But survival demands that you look beyond today to what is possible tomorrow. A clear vision fuels your mental strength. It reminds you why you must keep going, even when the road is hard. It's also important to surround your mind with truth. Lies, whether spoken by others or whispered by your own fears, have no place in a mind that is determined to survive alone. You must constantly renew your mind with truth, whether that truth comes from scripture, wise counsel, or your own learned experiences. This truth becomes a shield against doubt and discouragement. Lastly, mastering your mindset means embracing responsibility for your thoughts. It means no longer playing the victim or blaming others for how you feel. It means owning your mental space and making the conscious decision to think in ways that build you up rather than tear you down. This is hard work, but it is the work of champions. When you learn to survive alone, your mind becomes your greatest ally. It becomes the engine driving your survival and your success. It is the place where battles are won or lost, and the more you master your mind, the more you will master your life. So today, make a commitment to guard your thoughts, to feed your mind with what is good and true, and to build mental strength that can weather any storm. Learn to manage your mind, because it is the key to surviving alone and thriving alone. And when you master your mindset, you unlock the power to turn your solitude into a launching pad for greatness. Strength is often misunderstood. Many believe strength is something you show in public. Big gestures, loud declarations, or dramatic victories. But the truth is that your greatest strength is built in the silence, in the moments when no one is watching, when you are not receiving applause or recognition. The strongest muscles of the spirit, faith, patience, discipline are forged in these quiet, unseen seasons of life. When you find yourself alone, when you have no one to lean on or no audience to impress, that is when your true strength is tested and developed. The public stage might celebrate the results, but it is the private preparation that determines whether you will stand firm or fall. Strength built in silence is not flashy or immediate. It is gradual, steady, and deep. It is the foundation upon which all lasting success is built. In those quiet moments, you develop patience. Patience is not just waiting, it is how you behave while you wait. It's easy to be strong when everything is going your way and people are cheering, but it takes a different kind of strength to be patient when doors remain closed, when prayers seem unanswered, and when progress is invisible. Patience is a muscle that must be trained. It requires faith that what you cannot see now will be revealed in time. Faith itself is also strengthened in silence. When no one else is around to remind you of God's promises, when you can't lean on others' encouragement, your faith must stand on its own. This kind of faith is not dependent on feelings or circumstances. It is tested, tried, and proven in the solitude where you wrestle with doubt and fear. It is faith that says, "I will trust God even when I cannot trace His hand." A strength built in silence is rooted in a faith that refuses to be shaken by temporary setbacks. Discipline is another crucial strength developed in private. Discipline is the ability to do what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it, even when no one else is watching, and even when the reward is not immediate. When you are alone, you learn to keep showing up, keep pushing, and keep believing. You develop the habits that lead to success: consistent prayer, study, work, and self-care, because you know that these small actions build the future you desire. Strength built in silence also means learning to rely on your inner resources. When no one else is around, you learn to depend on your own resolve, your own wisdom, and your own courage. You become the source of your own encouragement and motivation. This self-reliance is not arrogance, it is maturity. It is the understanding that your survival and success ultimately depend on your own commitment to keep going. Another important aspect of strength developed in quiet seasons is resilience, the ability to bounce back after failure, disappointment, or pain. Resilience is born when you face difficulties alone and choose to rise again and again. It is the inner toughness that says, "This is hard, but I am harder." Resilience does not come from comfort or easy victories. It comes from the willingness to endure the long, lonely battles that no one else sees. Many people are uncomfortable with silence because it forces them to confront themselves. It reveals weaknesses, fears, and insecurities they might rather ignore. But it is precisely in facing those inner struggles that strength is formed. It is in the wrestling with your doubts, the grappling with your pain, and the wrestling through your loneliness that your character is shaped. The strong are not those who never struggle. They are those who refuse to give up when struggle comes. This strength is also deeply spiritual. It is the kind of strength that moves beyond human ability and taps into the supernatural. When you have built your strength in silence, you are connected to a source far greater than yourself. You are empowered by the Spirit to face challenges that would overwhelm the unprepared. You have been trained in the school of solitude to withstand trials, knowing that God is working all things for your good. Strength built in silence prepares you for the public moments. It equips you to lead, to inspire, and to serve others from a place of deep confidence and wisdom. Because you have learned to be strong when no one was watching, you no longer need external validation. You no longer fear failure or rejection. Your strength is intrinsic, grounded in the quiet work of growth that others cannot see. This kind of strength changes the way you live. It gives you peace in the storm because you know you are prepared. It gives you courage to face the unknown because you trust your inner resilience. It gives you humility because you understand that your strength is not your own, but a gift cultivated through perseverance and faith. If you want to learn to survive alone, then embrace the silence. Don't rush to fill it with noise or distractions. Instead, lean into it and let it teach you. Let it build your patience when the waiting is long. Let it deepen your faith when the road is unclear. Let it develop your discipline when motivation wanes. Let it cultivate resilience when you feel beaten down. Remember, true strength is not always loud or visible. It is often quiet, steady, and unseen. It is forged in the moments of solitude where you wrestle with your limitations and choose to keep going anyway. This strength is what will carry you through every season of life and prepare you for the destiny that awaits. When you learn to survive alone, you discover the transformative power of self-reliance and personal growth. This journey is not just about managing to get by. It is about evolving into the fullest expression of who you are meant to be. Surviving alone forces you to face your fears, confront your weaknesses, and tap into hidden reserves of strength and wisdom that you might never have realized existed within you. It is a process of becoming, a spiritual and emotional refinement that shapes you into a person capable of thriving in any circumstance. Personal growth in solitude is often uncomfortable because it demands honesty and courage. When you are alone, there are no distractions or excuses. You cannot blame others for your failures or rely on external validation to feel worthy. This nakedness forces you to look inward, to acknowledge where you have fallen short, and to take responsibility for your own life. This is the starting point of true growth. It is only when you accept full responsibility for your circumstances that you gain the power to change them. Surviving alone teaches you resilience. You learn that setbacks are not the end of your story, but a necessary part of your development. Each challenge, each painful experience becomes a lesson in endurance and strength. You come to understand that growth is rarely comfortable or easy. It often comes through trials that test your faith, your patience, and your perseverance. But these trials are the crucible in which your character is refined and your spirit is strengthened. This journey also cultivates a deeper sense of self-awareness. Alone, you are confronted with your true thoughts, emotions, and desires. You begin to understand what truly motivates you, what values you hold dear, and what dreams you are willing to fight for. This self-knowledge is a vital foundation for personal growth because it guides your decisions and actions. When you know who you are, you can live intentionally rather than react to circumstances or the opinions of others. Moreover, surviving alone nurtures independence. Independence is not just about doing things by yourself. It is about trusting your own judgment and having confidence in your ability to navigate life's complexities. When you become independent, you no longer feel the need to seek approval or direction from others constantly. You stand firm in your decisions, knowing that you have the wisdom and strength to handle whatever comes your way. This independence is empowering and liberating. Personal growth through solitude also sharpens your problem-solving skills. When you cannot rely on others to fix your problems or provide solutions, you develop creativity and resourcefulness. You learn to think critically and to approach challenges with a proactive mindset. This ability to adapt and innovate is crucial for survival and success. It ensures that you can overcome obstacles and seize opportunities even when support is scarce. Furthermore, this journey deepens your spiritual connection. Alone, you are invited to engage more fully with your faith, to seek guidance, comfort, and strength from a source beyond yourself. This spiritual growth is often the anchor that holds you steady when everything else seems uncertain. It reminds you that you are not truly alone, that a divine presence walks with you through every trial. This realization brings peace and courage that cannot be found in human support alone. Surviving alone also encourages humility. As you grow, you recognize that despite your strength and independence, you are part of a larger story. You come to appreciate the value of relationships and community while maintaining your ability to stand firm on your own. This balance between independence and connection is essential for a healthy, fulfilling life. It prevents you from becoming isolated or arrogant and helps you build meaningful, supportive relationships on your own terms. In this process of personal growth, you also develop gratitude. You begin to see your journey, not just the destination, as valuable. You appreciate the lessons learned in solitude, the character forged through trials, and the strength gained from perseverance. Gratitude shifts your perspective from one of scarcity to abundance. helping you to recognize the blessings present even in difficult circumstances. Ultimately, surviving alone is a profound opportunity for transformation. It is a chance to rewrite your story, to break free from limiting beliefs, and to step into your God-given potential. The process may be painful, but it is also powerful. It prepares you not only to survive, but to thrive. It equips you to face life with confidence, purpose, and joy, regardless of what challenges come your way. So, embrace the journey of surviving alone. See it as a sacred season of growth and self-discovery. Allow yourself to be shaped by the experiences, strengthened by the struggles, and guided by the wisdom you gain. In doing so, you will emerge stronger, wiser, and more fully alive than ever before. Now, as we come to the close of this message, I want you to hear this deep in your spirit. Surviving alone is not a curse. It is a calling. It is a sacred season designed to shape you, to strengthen you, and to prepare you for the destiny that no one else can fulfill. When you learn to stand on your own, when you master your mind, build your inner strength in silence, and embrace personal growth through self-reliance, you become unstoppable. Remember, the journey of surviving alone is the journey of becoming fully who God created you to be. It is in the solitude that your faith is forged, your character is refined, and your purpose is revealed. Don't despise the quiet or fear the loneliness. Lean into it, for it is in those moments you are being prepared for greatness. So rise up today with confidence. Know that you have what it takes to walk through any storm, to face any challenge, and to thrive regardless of who is by your side. Your destiny is calling you forward. Step into it boldly. Survive alone, but never be alone in spirit, and when you do, watch how your life will become a testimony of strength, faith, and victory. God bless you, and keep walking in your power.